What is going on, everyone? Welcome to trying something new now. Going to kind of give you a little bit of rundown that happens every night in the minors. Just a couple headlines, a couple things going on. Not a recap per se, but just some stuff that's kind of happening night to night in the Pirate system. Um, First off, we're going to get started down in Bradenton. A couple things happened down there. One of the big Pirates international signing, Yordany De Los Santos, he was finally called up to Bradenton after really doing well in the Complex League, has struggled early on. Last night was the first night I actually got to watch him play. When he was first called up, they were at Daytona, who doesn't have a stream. He's been struggling. He's 18 years old. It's going to happen. It's probably going to happen some. He went 0 for 4 with 4 strikeouts. He has 17 strikeouts in his first 25 plate appearances now. Definitely not ideal, but like I said, he is 18 years old. We'll probably see some struggles here. The competition stepping up since they've started eliminating the minors isn't as big as it once was, but obviously we're like last night he struggled with a little bit of everything. It was the breaking pitches, off speed pitches, even swung a miss at a couple fastballs. I'm sure even the step up there, he's probably seen pitches being located a lot better. So maybe he, there'll be an adjustment period. I think he'll be fine. He'll eventually kind of get things going, and he's 18, so he's got the rest of the season to do it. There's a good chance he probably starts in Bradenton next year, regardless. So he has time to work things out. And speaking of teenagers who've struggled a bit in Bradenton, Termarr Johnson has kind of had a up and down season this year. He's shown that power potential. He's hit some. He got a really late start to the season, didn't have a spring training, was 18 until June. So super young kid. Of course, someone like him who came in with all sorts of expectations and hype and comparisons to Hall of Fame players, which I don't really like that. He had a big night at the plate last night. Baseball America came out with an updated top 100 prospects, and he slid all the way back to the back part of the list, really close to maybe potentially slipping out. He went 4 for 4 with a walk. He had 2 home runs. The fun part of the night was he had 2 home runs and 2 bunt singles. So pretty much on the polar opposite ends of each other when it comes to production. The power potential has been evident from day one. He's put up some really great exit velocity numbers. His 90th percentile is a few miles better than what the major league average was last year. And we're talking about an 18, 19-year-old kid who theoretically should still be growing into his body some. So the hitting's there. I have some theories about what exactly may be the issue with him on there. I'm working on an article on that right now. So a couple tweaks here and there. Part of it's being 19 in single A. So he works on that. I think he'll be just fine. In Indianapolis wasn't an overall great night in the Pirates minor league system. I think they split 2-2. Indianapolis though put up 13 runs through a barrage of home runs. Miguel Andujar stayed hot. He may be the hottest player in the system right now when it comes to offensive production. He had a home run and a double, drove in 5. Endy Rodriguez, the guy we've all been kind of waiting for to kind of start heating up with the bat. He's hitting better. The power numbers aren't exactly there from last year. I think it was a little bit unfair to kind of expect those numbers to continue into this year. So I think we're kind of seeing about what he's on pace to hit, I think, is what we can consider. I think 10 to 15 home runs a year from a catcher, it would be really strong when you add into his plus bat, plus hitting ability. He hit a grand slam last night, also drove in 5 and picked up 3 hits. Peguero, he first 2 home runs in AAA for him. He's looked good there. He's starting to play a little bit better at short. Definitely a guy that we're going to want to monitor as the season continues to go to see if he gets an opportunity to get up in Pittsburgh again. Played a little bit last year, got into one game, picked up his first major league hit and a walk. So we'll see if he gets another shot in the majors by the end of the season. Little tidbit at the end of, or also with the Indianapolis game, Quinn Priest only pitched an inning. Coming out of the break, maybe they wanted to kind of work ease everyone back in. Maybe this was planned. Will Crow came in behind him as part of a rehab thing, so that kind of all seems like it's set up. Of course, if you want to get conspiracy, start playing into the conspiracy theories and whatnot. The Pirates do need a fit starter right now after sending Roansy Contreras and Luis Ortiz back to Indianapolis. Coming out of the All-Star break, they won't need a fit starter till middle of next week. So this could be part of the plan on there. I don't like to speculate unless I've heard anything with it. But I mean, you start adding up the math. Maybe something is there. Priesters had an interesting year, kind of up and down. Some of the numbers look good. Some of the numbers are kind of, I think at this point, Priester's kind of what he is. He's a guy who's going to allow a lot of contact with his fastballs. The sinkers played really well this year, though. A lot of ground ball outs with it. It's just a matter of how much the slider and the curveball are going to play. Those two pitches have been really strong for him. He's got a lot of swing and miss with them. Hitters aren't really hitting it as well. So it's just going to depend on how hard major league hitters and how often they're going to hit the sinker and fastball. So, and then finally, we had our first wave of draft signings last night. Four players from the 2023 draft signed their first contracts, so they'll head to the complex league, get things going. I talked a little bit on the podcast. You can find that on the PBN podcast YouTube page as well. We talked a little bit about the draft in general. Obviously, they took Paul Skeens first overall. He's kind of like the big headliner and stuff like that. After that, it kind of feels like they went a little bit upside heavy. They took a lot of college relievers and stuff like that. I talked about on the show last night that I think because it was the SEC and Ben Charrington had a quote. I think it was Tim on Pirates Prospects where I had read it to where they feel like if they weren't in the SEC, if they're with different schools and stuff like that, they would have had more of an opportunity maybe to start, maybe to do well, maybe to get more experience. So of the players they signed second round pick Mitch Jebb. He's kind of an interesting guy. You see the power tool isn't quite ideal. I saw something where it said that they thought there's more power there. It was more of a Big Ten kind of stadium zapping the power and stuff like that. So we'll kind of see what he does there. The hit tool's been rated pretty well. The speed is there. They talked about him as like a second base, center field type of player potentially. So he's a guy, and I'm actually interested to see and get going in pro ball. The swing's a little bit funky. Maybe they work with that a little bit, but I mean, they've shown the willingness to kind of let people be themselves with it. And another signing, West Virginia closer, fourth round pick Carlson Reed. He's a lot of guys that they drafted out of college have the same thing. Really great stuff, plus stuff, really bad control issues. So they're going to get them in, see if they could work with them. We saw what happened with JP Massey. JP Massey, 7-8 walks per 9 inning while at Minnesota. Getting into pro ball, they worked with a couple things. Now using a futures game. So we'll see if they can kind of work on that. It sounds like they want to use him as a starter after being a closer with West Virginia. So we'll see how that works out. Patrick Riley, he got full slot amount, which I guess some people were unsure of because he was a reliever at Vanderbilt. But then we also, if there's anyone here that where I was talking about, like, because they pitched in the SEC, might get slid to the bullpen, whereas if they went somewhere else, could be in the rotation. He's probably one of the guys. Vanderbilt obviously always have one of the better teams in the nation. So we'll see him. He got full slot amount, which again I assume would mean they're going to try to give him another shot as being a starter. And then finally, the 10th round pick, Landon Tompkins. Not too much known on him right now. I couldn't even really find too much video on him. He was a college signing. It looks like he got one of the traditional college senior, super low bonuses. Try to save some money to go overslot with some guys. A lot of work to do. Like I said on the podcast the other night on the other show, I do think some people are going to be surprised about who does get overslot deals. I think some people will be surprised by that. There will be a couple obvious names, and then I think a couple people that might surprise as well. But anyways, that's going to be our morning rundown for July 15th. If you enjoyed these, I'm going to try to do these every morning to kind of just give a rundown of everything that's going on in the minors. Make sure you click subscribe, share, all that kind of stuff. Let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know what your thoughts on Yordany so far, Termarr, if we should be worried, and what you think about the draft in general. Okay. Thank you guys. Have a good day.